ויהי בימי אחשוורוש. הוא אחשוורוש המולך מהודו ועד כוש, 27 מדינה. Chapter 1, verse 1. Who want to read it in English? We'll start. Menachem. Loud. Okay, here we see that the Megillah tell us, you know what, before we start with the Megillah, should we explain why it's called Megillat Esther? Would you mind if I start with that? Last year we explained who was Esther, who was Mordechai, we brought the heritage, we gone through who was Ahashverosh, Vashti, and then who was Haman. But this year I want to explain, just before we start with the Megillah, why did they call it Megillat Esther? Chazal tell us on the Pshat, Mishum ha-Esther sheba. What it means, Esther? That there is many things that hidden inside the Megillah. What does it mean? Chazal explained that during that time that the miracle of Purim happened, by the way, it took over 9 years. You remember we spoke about it. Everything happened naturally. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't show himself suddenly. Everything happened naturally to show that it wasn't really a miracle. There is another explanation why is it called Megillat Esther. Because Esther HaMalka, the Queen Esther, she was the one that started actually all the fast for the Jewish people. That means she told Mordechai that we must start fasting. The Jewish people in dire straits, it's time to fast. Okay, if that's the case, so we understand why it's called Megillat Esther. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu hidden himself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't show it as immediately miracle like they saw before. But why it doesn't call Megillat Mordechai? Mordechai was have the same share, the same like Esther. Because Mordechai actually forced Esther to go to the Melech Ahashverosh, to try to save the Jewish people. So there is few explanations to it, and we're going to touch few. And also, I don't know how many of you know, the name of the Almighty never mentioned in the Megillah. The proper name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu never mentioned. Although you can find the name, if you look at the Pasuk, Yavo, HaMelech, are you with me? Vehaman Hayom. So if you look, Yavo, start with Yud. Yud. Yavo, HaMelech, Hey, Yud Kei. Vehaman, Vav. Hayom, Hey, Yud Kei, Vav Kei. So it's mentioned that the name of the Almighty mentioned in a hidden. That means Berashet Tevot. Okay, we understand that. But we have to understand why it doesn't mention. After all, it's a Megillah. We explained last year that Megillat Esther actually been honored to fit into the 24 books of the Tanakh and amongst the 5 Megillot. So how come that the name of the Almighty didn't mention there? We have to understand. All the other Megillot, the name of the Almighty there. Here we don't see the name of the Almighty. Anyone have any idea? No? Okay, so I'll share it with you. Actually, there is two.
Maybe it's in line with the hidden, the fact that everything is hidden in
Definitely that it's hidden. Part of it that we mentioned, that the name of the Almighty is not there.
But it's hidden.
It's hidden. But why is it not mentioned? Why is it hidden? So I'm going to bring two explanations for us to understand why the Megillat Esther, in the Megillat Esther, the name of the Almighty not mentioned. Okay. Who written Megillat Esther? Esther and Mordechai, nachon? When Mordechai asked the Ahashverosh writers to write the Megillah, he knew that they're all idol worshippers. And he was frightened to tell them that to write the name of the Almighty in a Megillah, because they might gonna describe it one of the idols, Hazal says. So Hazal said that the main reason that we don't see the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Megillah, Rabotai, because Mordechai was worried that the king Ahashverosh, those people that was in charge to write everything, maybe going to describe the name of the Almighty, Chas v'Shalom ba'avodah zarah. That's one opinion. The other opinion is that we see that they tell us in the Midrash that Esther actually asked Hazal in that time to put the Megillah inside amongst all the 24 books that there is in the Tanakh. Hazal wasn't so quick to put it in. Why? Because they wasn't sure that it's so holy. Later on, when they found out that the Megillat Esther actually is something holy, they allow it to go in amongst the 24 books that we have in the Tanakh. So what's the connection? Esther was worried that if Chas v'Shalom, this Megillah that she writes, going to be mentioned the name of the Almighty, and it's not going to enter the 24 books of the Tanakh, people actually wouldn't take it seriously. And the name of the Almighty mentioned there, and Chas v'Shalom, they come to be mezalzel in Megillat Esther. That means that they wouldn't take it seriously. And they throw it on the floor, or they throw it to the dustbin, and the name of the Almighty, Chas v'Shalom, will be mentioned there, and it's going to be bizayon for the name of the Almighty. So Hazal said that the main reason that Esther didn't want to mention the name of the Almighty, that Chas v'Shalom, that if Hazal wouldn't allow to enter the 24 books of the Tanakh, people actually wouldn't take the Megillah seriously and will throw it on the floor, and Chas v'Shalom, the name of the Almighty, will be disgraced. You understand now? So now we understand what it's called Megillat Esther, why the name of the Almighty not mentioned. Now we start with the Megillah. It says, Vayehi b'imei Ahashverosh, hu Ahashverosh. Vayehi. You remember, just a few weeks ago, in Parashat Veshalach, we mentioned, Vayehi beshalach paro et ha'am. You remember? We brought the Gemara in Masechet Megillah, Daf Yud Amud Bet. That means page 10, page 2. Hazal say, if I'm not mistaken, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, that we have, Hazal tell us, whenever it's mentioned the word Vayehi, referring to tsar, pain, agony. So Hazal asked, what's the agony that was? We all know, immediately all of you are going to jump. We know the agony, the decree that Haman wanted to do to the Jewish people. Nachon? That's all what you think. Okay, any other opinion? Well, I agree with you, by the way, 100%. But Hazal, the Mefarshim, the commentary, bring much more than that. And where is it hidden? Look at the pasuk. What does it say? Vayhi b'imei Ahashverosh. It was in a time of Ahashverosh. Who Ahashverosh? Why? You told me it was in a time of the king Ahashverosh. You come to tell me again he was the Ahashverosh? Why? Sorry, who?
He took all the vessels from the Bet HaMikdash.
Okay, so he took the vessel. Okay. Bizayon, but what does it mean, a pain? So I'm saying that the hidden, if you want to find it, where is it? In a word, Hu Ahashverosh. Let's see what Rashi says. We always start with Rashi. Rashi says, Hu berish'o mitchilato ve'ad sofo. That means that he was a wicked king from the beginning to the end of his kingdom. What is Rashi trying to tell us? Rabota, when we read the Megillah, many things didn't look clear. And I'm not going to take a long time because I want to allow to adjust a lot of things, to try to catch a lot of things in the Megillah. So I'm going to bring just one opinion. Hazal explained, take the word Ahashverosh and split it to two. אח, ראש. אח, ראש. נכון? אח is a brother, נכון? In Hebrew, everyone agree? ראש, head. What's the connection? Hazal say, listen to that. Whoever used to hear the name Ahashverosh used to get a headache. You're laughing. You're laughing. You know why? Because he was so wicked. They just used to hear his name, headache. But there's another explanation. To Ah is a brother. Nachon we say? Everyone agree? In Hebrew, Ah is a brother. How does it end? Rash. In Hebrew, Rash is a poor. Poor. No guilt. You know? No guilt. Ani. Guilt. Ganug. Ahashverosh, in a time of Ahashverosh, he made the Jewish people that lived underneath his kingdom completely poor. Do you understand that? Now we understand what Rashi said. That he was a wicked from the beginning to the end. Now we understand, just to understand, when please God, exactly in 2 weeks' time, we're going to read the Megillah. So when you hear the word Ahashverosh, think about how much sorrows he done to us. Let's move on, to the end of his kingdom. What does mean the end of his kingdom? The end of those 3 years. And actually it was a bit more. I tell you what, not until he died. Because once that Esther became, and we'll see why Esther hidden her religion. You remember? Esther never told which nation she came from, where she came from. Nothing. She kept shtum. Until then I'm talking about. Because it was the first 3 years, that's what I'm referring to. Okay? Let's move on, and I would like to focus on Pasuk Bet. In Pasuk Bet, where is it? Pasuk Bet, yes. In Pasuk Bet, it says something very interesting. בימים ההם, כשבט המלך אחשוורוש על כיסא מלכותו, אשר בשושן הבירה. 2. Simon, you. Read 2. I'm talking to you, Simon.
That in those days, when King Ahasuerus sat on his royal throne, royal throne.
Okay. Here the Torah tells us.
Which was in Shushan, the capital.
The capital. Sorry, I said the Torah. I'm wrong. I meant the Megillah. Here the Torah tells us that Ahashverosh sat on his chair that was in the capital of Shushan. How many of you know the history of Persia? Shushan is a small city. It wasn't the capital. You know, it was Bloemfontein. It's good for it. You know, you understand what I'm saying? It was somewhere very far. So how come that it's still subtly that it's the capital? The capital usually it's one of the big cities, the most important city. Shushan wasn't the important city. But there is something very interesting. The answer for it is like this. בימים ההם, כשבט המלך אחשוורוש על כיסא, on a chair. What chair? Huh? What? Which chair? I'm asking which chair? Is it his own chair? Okay, let's see. Melech Shlomo. But he couldn't sit on a chair of Melech Shlomo. Avi Merodach. He was the father, Avil Merodach. Remember, Avil Merodach. Remember that name? That was the father of Vashti. When Ahashverosh took the kingdom, he found out that, you know who was the grandfather of Vashti? Nebuchadnezzar, Harasha. When he destroyed Bet HaMikdash, he brought all the vessel. Part of the vessel was the chair of Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech have a special chair, Rabotai. That is what you see today, escalator in a shopping center. Shlomo HaMelech done it. On each side of the chair was a lion, was an eagle. It's a chair that beyond us, beyond our understanding. No one can sit on a chair. One of the king tried to sit on a chair, and as he put his first step, he managed to put his first step, but the second step, he felt the lion biting him. The lion biting him. No one was allowed to sit on a chair. But that chair was always among the vessel of Bet HaMikdash that brought to Persia. Because Persia managed to conquer Iraq, Babylon. So they took everything. When they took everything, Ahasuerus saw that chair. He wanted the same chair. He knew that he was frightened to climb to sit on it because he knew what's going to happen. If it's not going to be the lion, there is crocodile there. There is an eagle there. He knew that he will be bitten. Now when I say eagle, lion, Rabotai, it was a statue of them. It wasn't them alive. But if you try to sit on it, you got a gesund bite. You know what I'm saying? So Ahasuerus wanted a chair like that. Where was all the craftsmen? In Shushan Abira, in Shushan. Ahasuerus decided, you know what? I want the same chair. Where can he find a chair like this? Who can do that? Only the craftsmen in Shushan. So what they done? They brought the chair, Rabotai, they took the chair to Shushan Abira, and the craftsmen start to design the same thing, to make it, to copy it. Like China of today? Can't do nothing original, just copy. Where's Moti? Moti, where's Moti? Here, Moti here. Moti go to China. He told me, thank you for the shoot. Akarat tov. He tell me, whatever you want, tell me, I'll bring you from China. Just bring me your shirt, bring me the design, they'll do everything the same. Copy. They can't design nothing by themselves. Where's David Ezra? I saw him today. David, you're the designer, huh? Tell them how difficult is it, huh? So, they took it where? To Shushan, with all the craftsmen. And they start building the chair. When they finished the chair, they wanted to take it back to the capital. The craftsmen say, if you're going to move that chair, it's going to break. Now, Ahasuerus stuck. He decided what to do? To make Shushan as the capital. And that's why it's called, you understand, Rabotai, what's happened? He moved the entire capital to Shushan. Now we understand what it says. בימים ההם, כשבט המלך אחשוורוש על כיסאו, אשר בשושן. That was in Shushan. Why? Because Ahasuerus decided to be Uberchochen. Instead of shifting up all the craftsmen to the capital, he decided to bring the chair there. They done the chair. Once that the chair has been made, the craftsmen tell him, if you're going to move it, it's going to crack and break. So what did they decide to do? Made Shushan Abira as the new capital. Okay? Let's move on, and I would like to share with you something very interesting. And in Pasuk, in Psukim Yud, Yud Bet, that means verse 10 and 12. I'm going to read it, and then we'll see what is it say. It says like this. Where is Yud? ביום השביעי, כתוב לב המלך ביין, אמר למאומן, וזדה, חרבונה, בגיטה ואקטר וכרפס, 17 אישים המשרתים את פני המלך אחשוורוש, להביא את ושתי המלכה לפני המלך, בכתר מלכות, להראות העמים והשרים את יופייה, כי טובת מראה היא. verse 12, ותמאן המלכה ושתי לבוא בדבר המלך, אשר ביד הסריסים, ויקצוף המלך מאוד וחמתו בערה בו. Who want to read 10 and 12? Tony, a long time you didn't read. Okay. ביום השביעי, on the 7th day. Let's see what Rashi say. רבותינו say, אמרו שבת היה. What's the חידוש? Listen again. ביום השביעי, the 7th day, what would you say? שבת. נכון, בסדר. Look what Rashi say. רבותינו אמרו שבת היה. That's all what Rashi. Rashi say it was a Shabbos. What did Rashi try to tell us? Rashi wouldn't say nothing. You have to understand why it was Shabbos. Why did he say Shabbat? We know that it was Yom HaShvi'i Shabbat. Rabotai, we have to understand what's happening. Yes, Steve?
I said it could be any 7th day.
Any 7th day.
Could be
Look.
on the 7th day of the partial.
Look what it says. Read it. Look at this. ביום השביעי. ביום השביעי. כתוב המלך. It was Shabbat. Okay? Why Shabbat? Hazal tell us, מידה כנגד מידה. measure for measure. הקדוש ברוך הוא do measure for measure. ושתי המלכה, the queen Vashti, she used to have a Jewish woman slave. And she used to force them to work dafka on Shabbat. Rabota, but that's not the end. You know how she used to force them to work? Naked. Do you know what the sickness is of? Vashti, the queen. Vashti was the queen, and she forced the Jewish woman to do slave work on Shabbos naked. That means you have a maid, she cleaning the house, they have to work naked. They wash the bathroom naked. They cook naked. And on and on and on. Do you understand that sickness? The Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't forget, Rabotai, midah keneged midah, measure for measure. Bayom HaShvi'i, King Ahashverosh decided, now I'm happy. What he decide? I'm going to call Vashti to come to where? Hey, I made a nice feast. I want you to come to my party. When? On the 7th day. Okay. On the 7th day, you want to come? No problem. Vatema'en, if you look at verse 12, what does it say? Vatema'en amalka Vashti lavo. Vashti refused to come to the party. Why? Hazal explained that the king Ahashverosh wanted to bring Vashti to the party, okay, to show how beautiful she is. But the agreement was she will come naked. And she agreed. Vashti agreed to come naked. A queen. A queen. Rabota. Lehavdil. She agreed to come naked. But what's happened? Hazal say, there is two opinions in Hazal. One opinion in Hazal say that on the 7th day, suddenly she got a leprosy on her body. Other opinions say that she grew a tail on her back. So she decided, I'm not coming. So when they come to take her, she said to her king Ahashverosh, I'm not coming. Okay, so why? Now here, listen to that, how does it work? How HaKadosh Baruch Hu put everything together, fit everything. They come to take her, she said, I'm not coming. What does it say in the pasuk in verse 12? Just a word. ויקצוף המלך מאוד וחמתו בערה בו. Because the queen says she's not coming, he got cross, very angry, מאוד, and he actually felt like he's boiling. Why? Because the queen decides not to come naked, you get upset. What? Vashti couldn't tell King Ahasuerus, listen, I have a leprosy, I have a tail, I can't come. Everything worked perfectly. Listen to that. When he sent to bring her, she decided not to come. The messenger go back to King Ahasuerus to say why she doesn't want to come. He said to her, tell her I'm the king, I want her to come no matter what. You know what Vashti said to him? Listen to me. She said to King Ahasuerus, my father, what you drank today, my father used to drink double the amount, if not three the amount, and he never talk a half of the nonsense that you speak. Do you understand why he got cross? Not because that she didn't only came, because she's antagonizing him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put everything. And what happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished her. You used to take my own daughters on Shabbos to work naked. Dafka on Shabbat to work. You know that I'm not allowed them? I'll punish you. On a 7th day, midah keneged midah. What you done to my daughters, publicly they'll do to you on a 7th day. Midah keneged midah. So when we read that verse, that what's happened. Bayom hashva'i ketov hamelech. Suddenly the king felt, suddenly you feel so good. 7th day you drink it. You papala 7th day. You decide to wake up only on Shabbos? No. Usually when people get drunk, I don't know how many of you get drunk. No, I'm not referring. No, never. On the same day you're happy. You don't wait for the 7 days to start doing stupid things. HaKadosh Baruch Hu let them puza. Everyone understand what puza? Amagluglu. Until the 7th day, when you wake up on the 7th day, that's the day that they hang Vashti. Vayitlu et Vashti. Kaput. You punished my daughter to work naked on Shabbos. That's your punishment. Midah keneged midah. Okay, Rabotai, let's move on. Sorry?
Because she made the Jewish people, Jewish girls do, she's carried like skilla. So basically she was killed for
מידה כנגד מידה, פשוט. כל המחלל שבת. What's the עבירה? נו, הנה, אתה רואה, פשוט. מידה כנגד מידה, measure for measure. Let's move, how much time we have? Oh, we're running. Okay. Let's move to verse 13. And here we'll see something very interesting. Let's see what the king Ahasuerus said. ויאמר אחשוורוש לחכמים, יודעי העתים, כי כן דבר המלך לפני כל יודעי דת ודין. Stephen, you read.
The king said to the sages, the ones who knew the times. So this is the word of the king before all those who knew the laws and judgments.
Who is he talking to? Hachamim. We have to understand. I get a time out. Okay, give me a few minutes and we'll finish the show. When we read that pasuk, we have to understand Vayomer Hamelech lahachamim, and the king told the wise men. Which wise men? Which wise men you think? Listen, Rabotai, what the Midrash say. The Midrash say that Ahasuerus approached who? Chachmei Israel. And that time, Rabotai, was Sanhedrin. That the head of the Sanhedrin, you know who was? Mordechai HaTzadik. They came to Mordechai and the house of the Sanhedrin. And he asked him, listen, what should I do with the Queen Vashti? You know, she refused to care. She embarrassed me, humiliated me. What should I do? Should I do the punishment or not? Chachmei Israel, not for nothing they call Chachmei Israel. They knew if they tell him to hang her, after a while, when the Hashverosh going to wake up from his papalas, he said, you advise me to hang her. If they would advise him not to do nothing, he said, I got insulted, and you didn't give me the right. Chachmei Israel say, whatever advice that we're going to give him, he's going to use it against us. You understand what I'm saying? So what did they do? They keep shtum. They say, look, we don't know. In your case, it's too difficult. You have to decide. And who jumped immediately? Memuchan. Who's Memuchan? Rashi say, Haman. Who Muchan la Po'anut? Muchan is ready for the Po'anut. And we see that when did Haman actually start losing? When the king of Hashverosh started to understand that he have no queen. Who gave him the advice? Haman. He was the first one. Let's finish the job. Hang. You know, Isis. Hang, burn, chop, head, everything, you know. That's Haman, Amalek. Do you understand? So Chachmei Israel knew that Ahashverosh going to make up one day from his feast. And they knew that they're going to blame them. Therefore, what did they do? They didn't want to give him an answer. Now we understand when it says, Vayomer el HaChachamim, he spoke to the wise men. Which wise men? Chachmei Israel. You see how clever they are. Please God, next week we're going to try to move on and we'll see more of the Megillah. Rabbi